The New York Times today confirmed remarkable reporting that's set to appear in a soon-to-be-published book. It recounts a failed plot by the Kremlin to assassinate a former Russian intelligence official who became a CIA informant. The remarkable thing in terms of modern Russian history is not that they decided that they wanted to go kill the guy. It's that they decided apparently that they wanted to try to kill the guy here on U.S. soil in the United States. That Russian intelligence officer had disclosed information to the U.S. government that resulted in the FBI uncovering a bunch of Russian spies who were living here in the U.S. under deep cover. Not surprisingly, the Russian government was not too pleased about that. But what we learned today is that apparently in 2020, an attempt was made to take him out on American soil in Miami. Now, that plot did not succeed. But still, trying it here means something. And in a way, maybe this shouldn't be all that surprising. Given Russia's previous patterns, we know what they're willing to do. But it does open really a whole new can of worms in terms of our relationship with them and what the implications of this might be. This is a new Rubicon that they have crossed here in the United States. Joining us now is Mark Polymeropoulos. He's a former CIA chief of operations in Europe and Eurasia. Lots of experience dealing with the Russian government in all sorts of ways he can't talk about. Mr. Polymeropoulos, I really appreciate you being on the show with us tonight. Thank you.
Good to be here.
So as I mentioned, we know about Russian efforts to track down and kill people or try to kill them, not just in Russia, but in places like Germany and places like the UK. As a former CIA chief who has real expertise in this field, does it strike you as significant? Is this something new and important that they've apparently tried to do the same thing in the United States?
Well, Rachel, I think so. You know, for a long time, we saw Europe as kind of Russia's intelligence playground. And as you very artfully stated, there were successful and unsuccessful assassination operations in the UK and in Germany. Russia never was deterred from doing this. There was always would be tit for tat expulsions, declaring Russian intelligence officers persona non grata from countries, but they were never deterred. And so, as they've kind of expanded this hybrid warfare, it looks as though they tried to recruit a support asset to, in essence, obtain pattern of life on an alleged defector who's living in Miami. And what does that mean? It means trying to figure out, for a future assassination team, where this individual lived, how he parked his car, just everyday moves. For something that a lot of us thought was kind of out of bounds, which would be kind of Russian activity in the U.S. And Rachel, I'll say something, and I think a lot of people don't understand this. With Russian defectors, with any defectors, the CIA is allowed to, in essence, parole into our country up to 100 defectors a year. It's a large number, and that's really not important. But that also means that we give them permanent residence, and that's a path to citizenship. So in essence, the Russians not only were trying to kill a defector, a former officer of their intelligence service, this was also a U.S. citizen, and that should alarm a lot of people.
Is it also, given that he's a defector, the CIA essentially takes responsibility for him, brings him into the U.S., brings him in and installs him here as a permanent resident, potentially as a U.S. citizen, in a way that's supposed to be safe from reprisal by the country from which he defected. Is it surprising to you that the Kremlin was able to apparently dispatch somebody to get this close to him, apparently as part of an assassination plot? Shouldn't he have been more protected?
Well, the answer, of course, is yes, and I'm sure that the intelligence community, tightened up its procedures, and of course, the operation was not successful. One of the things that we've seen over the years with defectors, of course, is that they don't always follow the rules. They miss home, they contact relatives. Sometimes they do things that open them up to eventually kind of their home country finding out where they are, but really, generally in the United States, they still were considered untouchable. And that's what I think is so troubling here. Look, Vladimir Putin has a pathological hatred of defectors. He's a former intelligence officer. This goes to kind of his DNA. And he clearly has made the decision to kind of cross that Rubicon and go after individuals in the United States. And we have to now up our game and ensure that these individuals, these were agents of ours. We have a sacrosanct responsibility to protect them. We've got to do that.
Mark Polymeropoulos, former CIA chief of operations in Europe and Eurasia. Mark, invaluable to have your expertise on this story tonight. Thank you so much for being here.